Welcome to Macclesfield Town Council Finance Committee on Monday the 13th of November, and we are here to look at some grants and make the decisions about the finances for Macclesfield Town Council. So starting with apologies for absence.
We have Councillor Bennett-Waite, Councillor Gilman and Councillor Puttick.
Lovely.
And we are quorate.
Yes. Lovely. And so anyone got any declarations of interest in relation to any of the grants? Councillor Wilson?
Lads declare non-pecuniary interest in item 5.2, Macclesfield Armed Forces Veterans Breakfast Club. I am an honorary member.
Very nice. Anyone else got
Yes.
any? No, Councillor Hayward. I have a non-pecuniary interest to declare in relation to St Barnabas. I'm a trustee of Charity Create, which uses St Barnabas for some of its clubs. So it's best to declare all interests, even though they seem to be a little bit remote. So we'll move on to the minutes of the last meeting held on the 11th of September. Has anyone got any corrections or amendments to the minutes? No?
Pose a true and accurate record.
Lovely, thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Is anyone willing to second that? Thank you, Councillor Harewood. So the minutes are agreed. Are there any matters arising from the minutes?
Vote on that, so.
Sorry, we have to vote on it. I always forget the voting bit. Should we vote on the accuracy, and is everyone happy to accept the minutes as a true and accurate representation? Yes?
Abstain.
You're abstaining, of course you were. Very good. Thank you. That's the minutes accepted. And we move on to any updates from the minutes. Has anyone got anything that they would like to update from the minutes? No. So we'll move on to the grant application. So item number 5, the interesting bit of the agenda. We're going to just change it around slightly, so we'll go with 5.5 first, which is the grant for St Barnabas, if that's okay with everyone. And Katie Wardle, I think you're here to speak, is that right? Lovely. Do you want to say anything? Yeah?
Just so you know, you'll have up to 3 minutes each if you do speak. You don't have to use 3 minutes, but you will have up to 3 minutes. And if you do take 3 minutes, I'll put my hand up when you have to. Okay.
Have you changed your mind about going first?
So just give a bit of background about why we want the grants. I'm the warden at St Barnabas. We're a small community church over on the Moss Estate on the south side of Macclesfield. And we're asking for a grant towards the cost of replacing our flooring throughout the church. I don't know if any of you know St Barnabas, but we're small but mighty. So the Sunday morning congregation is about 15, but actually throughout the week St Barnabas is used for the benefit of our community on the Moss. Every day of the week there are groups in there and activities happening. Brownies are there tonight. There was fan washing happening today on social enterprise that runs from there. There's a surplus food grocery that runs for 3 days a week from there. We have youth clubs running, cooking groups, parties, events, things like that. And St Barnabas is a beautiful little building that was built in the 30s, but it's kind of struggling under the weight of all those activities and things, and we just feel that it is time for us to give something back to all the people who use the building and replace the floor. I'm a warden there, and it's probably one of the top health and safety things on my list. It keeps me awake at night, splinters and things like that, and it's just become beyond repair and things, so we just really want to get it replaced and sorted so that groups can use it safely and well. It's not for us necessarily about attracting more people in, it's just about, saying thank you and serving the people that use it already a bit better and make it easy to brush and things. Yeah, that's it.
Lovely, thank you very much. Has anyone got any questions?
I would like to say I strongly support that community, as I am aware of its multiple uses to an area that was very much in need. So I would like to see, yes, I would strongly support the grant to do the floor.
Excellent.
I think it's a much used floor.
I've just got one question that I've just thought of, but it's because it is a community connector building, isn't it?
It is, yes.
So will you be able to bid for any extra money via?
Possibly, yeah. We're trying to look at all the things we can apply for.
Okay. Because yeah, that's an important part of it, isn't it? That being a community connector site means that it is open to a lot of people,
Yeah.
not just the church congregation or even. So that would be very useful. And you're pretty convinced that you'll get the best quality that will last for a good length of time.
Hopefully, yeah. We've had 3 companies come down the boat. So, you know, lots of them come in at 20, 25 grand. I'm not going for that one. I'll go for mid-range. So, hopefully, I think it's similar to what is on the floor at the Church of the Resurrection, the core on Upton.
Okay.
And they seem to be similar for them. So,
Yeah. And that seems to withstand quite a lot of spills, and because they also have a food pantry, don't they?
we've been looking at lots of flooring over the last
And
few
kids
months.
sliding around and scuffing in there.
Yeah.
Excellent. Anyone other questions?
No, just to say, appreciated the detail in your application. You know, I just had reading through it. It was very clear what you wanted. Very clear the number of different community groups that used it. Made it easy to support it. I don't know if you do you play indoor bowling or anything inside there?
No, with the new floor.
Just make sure if you do, get that spirit level on it. Make sure it's very level.
Excellent. Could I have somebody propose the grant?
I happily propose it.
Lovely. Is anyone happy to second it? Thank you, Mike. Councillor Howard is proposing, Councillor Hutchinson is seconding. Lovely. Thank you very much. You're free to go. I'm going to vote. It's in my brain. Should we have a vote on that?
Yes.
Sure, I have a vote on it, yes.
I vote.
That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is it alright if I go and talk?
Yes, no, of course, absolutely.
Thank you.
Excellent. So we'll now start with 5.1, which is Mac Wild.
Thank you very much for allowing me to speak for a couple of minutes. Macwild Network is a small local environmental charity. We work with a whole range of partners to try and make Macclesfield a better place for wildlife and people by creating meadows, orchards, planting trees, etc. And what we want to do, the purpose of our grant application is to purchase an electric strimmer, which would help us to more quickly and efficiently prepare more sites for planting, meadow creation, etc., and also allow us to more easily maintain them. We want an electric strimmer because we think it fits in line with the ethos of our organisation, but also in terms of town and council, in terms of low carbon, reduced pollution, reduced noise, etc., and more easily usable by volunteers. So rather than having petrol and noise, etc., it's much easier for a less skilled person to use it. We're after a good quality machine because again that's about it being sustainable, something that will last for a reasonable length of time, and batteries to go with it. So that's it. Apart from, I just wanted to say it fits in with all sorts of things in your strategy under the environment, community, and street scene categories, which hopefully will resonate with what you're trying to do as well.
Excellent. Lovely. Has anyone got any questions to ask the Tony at all? No? Okay, Councillor
yeah.
Hutchinson, sorry.
Yeah, just to excuse my ignorance in this, but I just wanted, as I was reading through your information, it was all very clear what you wanted in terms of streamers and battery length and why you wanted so many batteries for it. What I didn't see in there was maybe some examples of the work that you've done in Macclesfield, some of the areas that you've improved. That's what I was looking for that as well, and to see, and I could say, oh yeah, and we appreciate that that's been improved.
Okay, well, if I can give you some examples, so we've been working for a couple of years now on the grounds of the leisure centre, so we've helped transform the leisure centre grounds, the introduction of an orchard meadow there, and introduction of other wildflower areas. We've also worked with a couple of schools so far, so that's St Albans and Christ the King School doing tree planting projects and meadow creation and orchard creation, or a few, not quite an orchard, but getting that way at St Albans. And we've got other projects in the pipeline. And the idea behind the machine is that we'll be able to do more effectively, because one of the constraints we have is the ability to get around and do things quickly. And if we are, basically it gives us the ability to do more ourselves rather than rely on possibly ANSA or someone else to come cut grass for us, which, as we know, is getting more and more difficult with public sector cuts.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a question?
Councillor Hyde was
Councillor Hyde.
referred.
Are you open to help in any area in the community? Because can you be called on to look at and help in any area except those big ones? Are you open to all community areas?
Oh, absolutely. So part of the vision for our organisation is to create a network of people that we work with to support them. So,
Okay.
you know, we will happily work with all sorts of people, subject obviously to our capacity, because we have no paid staff, we're just a group of volunteers. But yeah, our vision is to get wilding areas all across Macclesfield and all joined up, because that's better for people and better for wildlife as well.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah.
So, can I have your number open that you can be called on to give some advice, or can you do it when and how and with whom?
Yeah,
Are you
absolutely.
open to that? Do we have your number?
Yes, I can.
I would like your number.
Okay, I can email it to you, or
Thank you.
You
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
I love Laura's number.
Thank you.
Councillor Woodcock.
Thank you very much, Chair. So obviously I know that in relation to the work you've done, just to answer for Mr Councillor Hutchins as well, the excellent work that you helped with the Britain in Bloom as well. I know that you've helped on St Albans School, planting so many trees and doing all the fantastic work. Looking at the application, you know, you thought about the Town Council's strategy and also our climate emergency, so it's fantastic that you brought this to us. I'm more than happy to propose the grant application to carry on the fantastic work that you're doing in and around Macclesfield, and hopefully Councillor Harewood in other wards as well to help other councillors.
Yes. Excellent. I've just got one question. Well, a clarification, because I don't think you're anticipating that the strimmer will be used for just tidying and keeping spaces clear. I think you're using it to strim so that you can then plant on,
Yes,
on
so
top.
so we would use it to, when you're doing meadow creation or indeed tree planting, for meadow creation it's essential really for, say, if you're using yellow rattle, which is like the seed that you would initially go in to reduce fertility in an area, you really need to be able to get down to the soil, and so that is a way of getting down to the soil so that you can actually see it, so you can seed it most effectively. But also if you're planting trees as well, it's an awful lot easier to plant trees if there isn't great thick grass. So, and you know, that is really something really useful for planting smaller areas. But also in terms of maintenance, we would normally mulch down a tree, so you wouldn't want to use your strimmer close to the base, but you need it slightly further away to stop any long grass things falling on top of it and collapsing on top of a young tree. So it's Yes, we're not going to be out there cutting people's huge areas, but we will be using it for site preparation and then management.
Good.
And our vision also, which I don't think is in the application form, is that for people that we work with, and we are confident that they would be able to look after the machine and understand how it works and use it safely, we'd also then to lend it to them. So for instance, when we work with St Albans, if they've got a particular issue, you know, we can lend it to them or to Christ the King, etc., and others that we work with. So it's a way of hopefully getting it used by lots of people in a safe way.
My other question was just where do you plan to keep it? Because
Where
that's
we
quite a
plan to
big
keep it,
bit of kit, isn't it? Quite valuable,
Yes,
and we don't want it to go missing.
for a lot, most of our tools are in an outside toolbox in a secret location.
Good.
But
Locked,
for
presumably.
this particular item, we probably need it under our insurance. Probably need to keep it in something like a garage where it's more effectively secured.
Okay. Yeah, but delighted to be able to support this. When I came out to St Albans, I learned a lot about planting, and I could see that the preparation and the care for trees. I think there was an interesting statistic that an awful lot of trees are planted with all the goodwill in the world, but unless you prep properly and care for them after properly, a lot of them will die.
Absolutely.
And so it was good to see that MacWild do that work. So we have a proposer. Is there a seconder? Lovely, thank you, Councillor Harewood. And should we vote?
Favour?
Lovely. Everyone in favour? Yeah. That's unanimous.
Thank you
Lovely.
very much.
Thank you very much for your time,
I'll
Tony.
head off if that's okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we get your number.
Laura will
Your
I have it.
Thank you.
If not, I can also email you. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, you dropped something.
Oh, what have you dropped?
Oops, sorry, maybe that's it. Thank you. Thanks.
Right, so we move on to 5.2, which is Macclesfield Armed Forces Veterans Breakfast Club. And would you like to do a little
Yep, so
introduction?
I'm Chris Edgerton, I'm one of the admins at Macclesfield Armed Forces Veterans Breakfast Club, which is a bit of a mouthful, but we are a club that is solely for veterans and some of their families, and we meet every second Saturday of every month, and it's a place where veterans can come, have a breakfast, have a chat, socialise. We get together, we do clubs, we support the community, obviously just on remembrance, we do all the parades in Macclesfield, and basically we're asking for a hearing loop system, so it's quite prolific that a lot of veterans have hearing problems from their service, from old age, and when we do the breakfast club, there's lots and lots of people in a small area, so we felt like a lot of the veterans were saying that we can't actually hear what you're saying when you do your announcements, when you ask us things, we want to get involved, but we can't actually hear what you're saying. So we did a bit of research and we saw that you can get a hearing loop system, so it's an amplifier base, it sits in the room, you loop it around the room that we're in, because we meet in the same room every month, and it would allow those hearing aids to hear what somebody's saying, and also when we do events or social gatherings together, we can use this system and people can actually hear what we're saying and interact with that as well. So that's really the size of the ask.
Okay. Has anyone got any questions?
I'm sorry, Chair. Can I ask, where exactly is the location of the club, please?
We meet at the Masonic Hall.
Oh, the Masonic. Thanks very much.
Any questions?
Yeah, now the question was about explaining how the system works, which I think you've done. So are the speakers behind people, or is it centrally? And
Yeah,
it's
so
big?
so there's different kinds of hearing loops. I'm no expert on this, by the way.
Yeah.
But from the research I've looked at, basically the system we would need is a wire, or it's a coil that goes around a couple of times around the room with an amplifier.
Anything in behind you.
Like that. That people with hearing aids, it connects their hearing aids, they can put it onto a loop, and then they can hear what I'm saying directly, so it sounds like I'm speaking directly to them.
Okay. Yeah.
So we do a lot of announcements and things like that, and trying to get the message across to people.
So my question was, is it going to be fixed within the Masonic Hall? Or is it portable?
No, it's portable. So the amplifier itself won't be fixed in the Masonic Hall. We'll leave the wire, because the wire is the cheap part of it, so it's just a wire, a copper wire that runs around the loop. But the actual amplifier we will keep for us, because we'll be able to use it in other venues as well. So we often go to one of the members has his own pub. If we do a quiz or an event there, we just take the amplifier with us and then just set up a loop ready. So that's the plan with it.
So yeah, very useful and definitely an important. My mum's just got a hearing aid, and so I know the big difference it makes. I think it's quite. You have to make sure that the angles are correct, don't you? Because sometimes you will be in the wrong area. But once you've got it working well, I think they're incredibly useful, aren't they? They basically keep people within the community and give them an ability to hear and be part of whatever's going on rather than feeling separate. Yeah.
Again, obviously I know I've attended many breakfast clubs, and what's also good to see is that you're moving out of the smaller room into the bigger room, so it goes to show how much of a well appreciated group that the Armed Forces Veterans Breakfast Club is. And as you mentioned, you know, veterans having hearing difficulties, no matter what age, but also the majority of veterans of older age. It's a fantastic thing to be able to look after everybody, as you are quite inclusive as well. So again, if I may, I'd like to propose that we approve the grant application for the £500 for the hearing room.
Yes, lovely. I've just thought of one more question actually. But do you plan to loan it to other organisations, or would you keep it very much?
We could, but it'd be the management of that, because it's obviously quite an expensive bit of kit. So we'll use it often. So
you'll use it.
Perhaps not. Maybe for events, if you were specifically asked, we could set it up for them. But
Keep it yourself. So we've got a proposer for the application. Is there a seconder? Lovely. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Should we vote? All in favour of the application?
I will abstain.
Abstaining, absolutely. So that's all unanimous abstention. Lovely. Thank you very much for your time. You can stay or you can leave. It's up to you. We'll move on to 5.3, which is Park Lane School. Somebody want to speak on behalf of this?
We're from Park Lane School. I'm Jackie French. I'm teacher in charge of the school, and this is Lorraine Warner, head teacher. And our school has expanded, and we've got a room now which will be a little classroom, but lots of our children can't access a formal classroom. They often need time to just chill out and relax because of their sensory needs. So I'm proposing a grant so that we could change this small classroom into a sensory area where there will be soft lighting and a settee where they could just calm until they're ready to go back into a bigger room to do their learning.
So increasingly our population has changed in the last few years, and we have more children now that are on the autism spectrum, but at the severe end. So like you said, they've got a lot of sensory processing difficulties, which means that they do need to come out of class and are learning just to regulate themselves again before going back into class.
Anyone got any questions? Yes.
Thank you very much for coming to us for this grant application. I know Park Lane School from many years ago when my mum was a midday assistant, and as the Mayor of Macclesfield I went back in my first week as the Mayor to present the prize for the Coronation Award, and I was kind of taken aback personally with the amount of additional classrooms and space and pupils there are at Park Lane School. I think I saw the sensory room and it is quite enclosed, so to be able to assist children that you have in your care is such a fantastic opportunity to be able to help them out a lot more. So I very much support this grant application. No questions, but just want to say it's fantastic that you've come to us today.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No, possibly a comment that I'm always moved and pleased that people who have been previously not thought of in this positive way are now brought into members of the society where they can function better. I'm very pleased about that. I too know of Parkland School and have friends. I've been living in Macclesfield forever. and this drawing more and giving more to those who need a little bit more I celebrate. So thank you for bringing that forward. I know of many rooms such as those. I visited one in Congleton, and as chair of one of the committees of the movements in Macclesfield, they have one at the autistic place. And so yes, and that's a yes from me. So yes from me.
Yeah, your description was great. I like the idea of all the different coloured lights coming on. I just wonder if we could use it after the full council meeting. Bring the councillors down for a bit of relaxation time. Could possibly need that to recover. But yeah, it looks super.
Thank you.
I just got one question. It's usual. It's a very practical one. It's about you will be making sure that you buy equipment that will stand the rigours
Yes,
of
definitely.
people
Yeah,
who,
we're well experienced in what we buy and what we don't buy.
so that it will last.
Yes, definitely.
So could I have a proposal?
Yes.
Lovely, thank you, Councillor Hayward. Lovely.
Either one.
Either one of Councillor White wants for a change, and then should we vote? In favour of the grant application? Lovely. All agreed. Thank you very much. You can stay or you can head off now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
So, last but not least, 5.4. Hello.
Sorry, you should stand for this.
Yeah, absolutely. Wherever you feel comfortable.
You probably know me, I'm Alan Williams, I'm the chairman of the local British Legion. I'm here with my colleague Pete Lake, and I'm sure you all know Pete. So, it's a bit like that. We're here asking about the lights, or the floodlighting for the war memorial. Okay, now, some history with this. It was actually planned to happen to coincide with the end of the commemorations of the Great War. And then COVID came along with one thing and another, and it got shelved. Otherwise it would have been there now. And the whole idea was to have two lights on the pavement in front of the war memorial, projecting slightly towards the memorial itself. And then this is lit, LED lighting, because it's come a long way now, from one of the street lighting poles. So the cost of actually running is going to be minimal. I should really watch it. And of course you may well know that our war memorial in Macclesfield is one of the best in the northwest, and certainly one of the top 10 in the country. So there's a lot to be proud of, and so it's worth any cost. Also, there's a suggestion about security. The memorial over the last 100 years now has had a charmed life. It's had very little in the line of vandalism. But the thing at the moment, one way or another, that may change. And I think it's by accident, that nothing's ever happened to it. And also, the security will improve. And if you look at it at night time, it's incredibly dark there. So nobody knows what's going on. And the sideline of this, it may also put people causing trouble in the gardens, because we appreciate Cheshire East's efforts in maintaining that garden to such a high state. And also, many, many war memorials are floodlit all over the country, modestly usually. So we're not anything unusual asking for this. Yeah, and I did mention the way it was planned is a very little hazard itself. If you look at your lighting outside on the paving, that's flush as well. And that's the sort of thing we were asking for, if you don't mind. So that's about it really. I can't really say much more than that. It's a very valuable thing, the war memorial, irreplaceable. a lot of money when it was built it. It's just a modest thing to help.
So the grant application we've got.
I've got to come close because I'm
Oh
somebody.
yeah, no, come close. Come close, come
The
close.
grant application we've got is to add 2 names.
Oh, that's different. What's this one? That's
This
not what I
one's
was
to
talking
add 2 names, that's what the one we've got.
No, that's not what I was
2
talking.
women's names.
Yeah.
That's the one we've got today.
Oh, okay, well, I wasn't told that.
So
was
that's the
told it
one
was
we've
about
got
lighting.
today. Yeah.
We were aware that there was lighting in the background as a potential
Yes.
coming forward. The one that's sitting in front of us on the
Yes.
agenda states
Okay.
2 names.
I wasn't
Do you
informed
still
that.
want to talk about that one?
Can I talk about it? I may well know all about that.
Well, it says
Where are
2
these names? Are they,
It
you're
says-
talking
It
the,
said 2 missing names from the
crematorium.
White War Memorial.
From the War Memorial
2 women,
Cenotaph.
2 women.
the two nurses, auxiliary nurses.
Right.
Yeah, that
Can
we-
they be named? Sorry, Jim.
Yeah.
Can they be named?
Yeah, there's 2 names of 2 nurses, and they're both sisters, by the way. What they want for that, because I was involved with this in its early days, is their names added to the memorial that was put in a few years ago over the First World War, and they were missed because nobody knew about them. Yet strangely, they're only a few yards away from the memorial, both of them. Right, it's just forgotten about. But anyway, we know about them, they're marked, and we're trying to get now war graves for them.
Right.
Right, they're noted as war graves now, but we want proper stones for them. Cheshire stone plot.
You mean to put the names
Yes.
onto the
Now-
memorial that's already there, like the 18 or so that have been added?
No, not that one, no.
The one, is this the one in the graveyard?
This is by the Cross of Sacrifice.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we're
There's a
getting a
plaque
bit
that was put
confused then,
there,
aren't we?
and you helped to fund that. It was a
Yeah.
big project with kids and all sorts at the time.
Okay.
And everyone was put in there, but these 2 names had been missed. Now, we've actually provided the funding to do it. And apart from, and I think the funding is actually reimbursed me. I footed the bill to get it done, all right? And we pleaded with the cemetery staff, and they haven't got to pay additional to have it put on. I don't know if you know, if you wanted names putting on a stone, you have to pay all this extra money for somebody to go in and do it. But they waived all that. The masons down on Windmill Street are doing an absolute minimum cost, and it's also their stone they made. So it's only, is it £120?
Yes, it's put in for a total cost.
In the
of
end, that's come
120.
back to me because I'm out of pocket with it,
But
and I try to get it moved now.
Okay.
Sorry, I
Is
didn't know.
this, so this is, okay, we're getting just a little bit confused. This is why it's really important that when grants come in, they do have as much information as possible, just so that we can completely...
There's not much more to know about. Apart from that, you needed Trevor Drewson.
Okay, so we now know where the war memorial, which war memorial we're talking about, and the 2 names, do you know the 2 names at
I
all?
do know them off the top of my
It's
head.
not Lily
2
and Maggie
sisters
Gaskell,
who are
is it?
auxiliary nurses working for the British Army, and they both died in the last year of the war, and they both died of flu.
This is Lily and Maggie then, isn't it? It's the 2
Sounds like
that
it.
are all
Yeah.
ready
They're
on-
down there
they're
now
all
on
down
the
there,
main
yeah.
Warmwood, and these are ones to go there because they're buried there.
Yeah.
And
And so
everybody who's
this
got
is-
Yeah.
a war grave within the graveyard has their name on it.
Brilliant. We have it.
Yes.
Does anyone else have any other clarification questions at all?
You clarified it, Chair, because I wanted to know the names of these women.
Pretty sure it
Um,
is.
But you've got them, haven't you?
Yeah.
Did you say,
You
yeah.
have the names.
Sorry,
My-
I'd have had them otherwise.
My question is there anyone else that's going to be coming? It would be nice to think that we had finally got all the different people
To
who've
our knowledge,
served.
we've got everybody.
Okay.
And I
We're
must
not going
say,
to find
this is,
dribs and drabs of people coming forward for an extra.
well, one hopes not. This is down to Harry Carlisle, if you all know him. And he's actually probably, and I think he'll agree, the world's leading authority on names of the First World War. And this is the go-to guy internationally to find out who they are, right? And really, it's down to him who's found all the names. And he doesn't think there's any more. If they turn up, they turn up. Because not everybody, you know,
No,
after the First World War, wanted their children, husband, to be remembered as victims of the war. The war was grossly unpopular when it was finished, and they were glad it was over. That's why you'll see a shortage of war graves in certain places.
I am happy. I did look into Lily and Maggie.
Lily
when they
and
were
Maggie,
put
that's
at
right,
Gaskell. Just because they interested me, because they were nurses and
Yes.
they travelled from Maxfield. They actually were in the hospital
Mhm.
on
Elsewhere,
Manchester,
Yeah,
and
thank
so
you.
they were interesting to me. So I think
And
it's
of course the
important
flu
to
had come
remember
from the
their-
front. The
Yeah,
soldiers had brought the flu with them.
exactly.
So in other words, they are actually known as casualties. And there's a lot of nurses around who are remembered under the Commonwealth War Graves. But these are new to it and unfortunately been forgotten. They're in a big family grave.
Is there anyone else got any questions at all? No? Any questions at all?
No, it's just linked to those two names, isn't it? I think we were friends of Million died in the flu epidemic of
It's-
1919.
Yeah, it's because they were serving at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't serving on the front, they were serving in a military hospital.
Yeah.
So they were serving at the time of their death.
Yeah.
It's-
You'll find, just to add to that one, you'll find out every war grave that's in Macclesfield are people who died here. Alright? Same at Bollington and that. You see a war grave, apart from one exception in the country, two, sorry, they all died here of wounds.
Yeah.
They
Yes.
brought back from the front and they died in the hospital or died shortly after at home. Right, and if you died after the 2 years thing, like gas poisoning, you weren't counted. But they're all part of the
Interesting.
system.
I've learned a new fact there. That's very interesting. I didn't know.
If
it was
you
a 2-year
died
cut-off.
on the front, you've
Yeah.
been buried on the front.
And absolutely. 'cause
With the
nobody
exception
came
of
home
the
with
unknown
it.
warrior,
Yeah.
and actually used to be the son of the Lord Lieutenant over Chester Way, whose mother cried to the Prince of Wales at the time, and he was brought over at great risk to other people.
I'm going to take it to the find a proposer. Can I propose as the chair? Am I okay to propose?
Yeah.
I will
Yes,
propose this.
I will propose on subject to getting
Of course.
permission.
And the permissions.
Yes, because if Orbit run it, we might just need to get their permission, Chester's permission. Sure, it'll be fine.
It's actually, the stone belongs to Maxfield.
It's in the.
It's on their ground.
Yes.
But Chris, who's the manager of Orbitus, isn't it?
Yeah.
She already knows all about it and she's waiving all charges.
We'll put it subject, just in case of anything in the future, we'll put it subject to.
Yeah, but I'm sure.
There is paperwork to go in and all that,
Absolutely.
but it's going in and it's
Subject to the
paid.
paperwork and the permissions granted.
It should be okay.
I'm happy to propose it. Would somebody like to second it? Lovely, thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Should we go to vote in favour of that? Lovely, that's unanimous again, excellent.
Thank you very much, Cal.
Thank
And
you
I'll
very
be back
much.
about the lines.
Yes, absolutely, we will expect you. So you're quite welcome to stay if you want, or you're quite free to go. Right, lovely. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Lovely. We'll look forward to seeing you soon. Different proposal. Lovely, so we'll move on to the grant updates. Number 6.1. Has anyone got any comments or anything to say about the Mac Pride update? Anything in particular? No, that's fine, we'll accept that. Moving on to 6.2, the Western Friends update. Anyone got anything particular to say? Has anyone been to visit the Western Friends at all?
Well, I've been down to the hub,
Okay,
yeah, to meet Heather.
very good.
Yeah, she's, when we do a litter pick,
Yeah.
which is last Saturday of every month, we started going to the hub to have a cuppa
Very nice.
and a bicky.
Lovely.
So just go through, gives us the opportunity then to chat to Heather about
Yeah,
type of things that are going on there. So it's a successful little
good. Yeah,
community enterprise, very good.
and I think it's it's lovely to get an update, isn't it? It's interesting. Yeah, it's good to get the updates and find out what's going on. But it's nice to have the personal connection as well for the update.
Yeah, but they're trying to get some litter pickers as well. We're trying to get those to answer the equivalent to me, not the people.
Yeah.
And then because they quite enjoy doing the litter picking, he said that if it's rather than just leaving it to the last Saturday of the month. Some of the children who go there might enjoy going out and doing it as well. So it all adds to the cleanliness of the area, and the involvement, community involvement.
Very good. We're moving on to 6.3, which is the Bollin BioBlitz update, the Mersey Rivers Trust. Has anyone got anything to comment on that? That's a very well produced little update, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, somebody knows how to do a good PowerPoint presentation there. Very nice.
Just want to say that I headed down to the River Bollin on the 12th of August. There was lots going on. There was a guided tour that had gone off before I got down there. There was pond dipping. It was fantastic to see the young people getting engaged in the local.
It's quite good weather, wasn't it? Until it started raining later on.
No, it wasn't chucking down, but I think it wasn't glorious sunshine. But yeah, no, I got chatting with a couple of the rangers as well, and it was interesting after the pollution to hear how long it takes for the ecosystem within rivers to get back to its full potential. It can take years, which
worrying, isn't it?
yeah. So no, a good event from what I could see. Well attended.
Excellent. That's good to have the personal feedback as well, isn't it? So we just accept those, don't we? We don't have to vote or anything, just note them. Yeah. Moving on to number 7, 7.1. Has anyone got anything to ask or comment about the finances and spend to date?
So the spend to date is proposed, seconded and voted on.
Yeah, and then do we take it to full council?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, I haven't got my glasses, so is that 396,875? Fantastic. Lovely. So is anyone happy to propose the spend today?
I've got a couple of questions.
Yeah,
to ask about
absolutely.
it. First one is, you'll see on the list at 4010 is the photocopier, and you've got the bill for that. It's actually gone down a little bit, I think. That's by year, isn't it? Just click on that. Check it's by year.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gone down a little bit. Just, if we can, at some point, implore, the aim is to minimise photocopying costs as much as possible. That's money that's not going on the residents directly. So I'd just like to encourage all councillors to go to a paperless system. I think in 2033 we should be there at that point. I think these documents are much easier. I would suggest that if you've got a laptop in front of you, or an iPad or some electronic device, if you have that, then it's much easier to find these documents quickly, I would argue, electronically than it is on paper. And when you get to an end of the meeting and you see all that paper left on the table, then to me it's not good enough. If the council takes away and stores it for the future, maybe, but I don't like to see a lot of paper waste, if possible. If we could bear that in mind for the future, maybe we could have a vote on it.
Lovely, thank you very much. I would just say that as you probably know, Councillor Hutchinson, I mostly have brought my laptop and used my laptop. Interestingly, I don't feel secure with a laptop when I'm chairing. And I know Councillor Wilson brought this up as an issue, and I have tried both methods, and I have to be honest, I really do like to have a paper copy in front of me when I'm chairing. I just need to know where I am. I need to be able to move swiftly, and I normally would be quite happy to use and catch up, but for chairing, I'm afraid I am going to be a bit retro and use paper. The rest of the time when I'm in full council and I'm not chairing, I'm happy to use my laptop. I just, the flicking through and the worry that I can't quite find where I am, I like to have the paper in front of me. So I will put that forward, and I know Councillor Wilson will be saying the same. I don't know about Councillor Wilcox when he's chairing. But I totally agree with you that we should be trying to minimise paper and photocopying as much as possible when we can.
Yeah, I think perhaps if there's a challenge to somebody with a grade 1 of paper, maybe electronic ones, to find a particular piece of paperwork, I think it's much faster to find it by electronic.
Well, I think the chairs should be allowed to choose their own preferred method. Otherwise, it might be difficult.
That's a matter for debate for future full councils, maybe.
Absolutely. Anything
Chair.
else on the?
I would like to have a personal choice. There are times when I want a paper copy and I don't know that we can say paper will go out. I don't think that in a personal way that you are catering for a wide variety of people within this serving community. So while it is good, it cannot be the only way. Cannot. That's
So
my opinion.
is it about this particular issue, Councillor?
Just about something else.
Okay, yes,
issue,
absolutely.
yes.
What would you like to?
It's 4029 is about room hire.
Ah, yes.
Now this is will be debated at some point, I'm sure, in the future. But the planning meetings are now held in the library because it's cheaper to hire it. And I just wondered in the future if we could debate where we have our meetings in order to save, once again, in order to save money that we can spend better on residents rather than a meeting room. This will come up again on item 9, but again, the cost to me have always seemed excessive on room hire from this particular building, and I wondered if there were any other venues in Mansfield where we could use that would provide better value for money. But again, that should come up in the future.
Who else got any comments on that particular issue? I'm actually very much in agreement with you, and I think while we're looking at different venues, I think we should actually consider venues that aren't necessarily in the centre, and we could have move meetings around a little bit, because I think it would potentially, other people might join us if we're in different places. We might find that if we're in the leisure centre, say, on my home patch of Broken Cross and Upton, that might, we could put a call out, people might join us and learn more about what we do. So I think if we're looking at different venues, we ought to consider different locations apart from the city, the town centre. Anyone else got anything to say about the spend to date at all? Anything particular?
Have we asked, or maybe we have already asked, have we asked Cheshire East, who owns this building, if they will reconsider cost to the rooms, because they're mostly empty? Have we asked and been told no? Yeah.
We get a 25% discount for being the town council. Yes, many times we have gone back and asked about the cost of rooms. It's a very firm no. We get 25% discount, not at the weekend, as far as I'm aware.
That's correct, yeah.
It's very fixed.
Okay. Thank you for asking. Probably just ask on a regular basis, annually maybe. We can just get a knock back each time, can't we? Anything else at all on the spend to date? So would somebody like to propose this spend to date? Send it again.
I don't think we have any choice. I don't think we have any
Well, I'm happy to
choice.
propose it because I've looked over the details of the spend. Anyone else wanting to second it? Thank you, Councillor Hutchison. And shall we vote on accepting the spend to date?
We have to accept it.
Lovely, that's unanimous, and we'll take that forward to full council. So moving on to 7.2, we've got the reports. If I just go through them, if anyone's got anything to comment on with any of them. I didn't have anything particular when I reviewed them. So 7.2.1 is income and expenditure. Any comments? 7.2.2, bank reconciliation. 7.2.3 receipts and payments, and 7.2.4 authorised payments. Anything on those? No, so we're just noting those. Yep, excellent. Moving on to number 8, interim audit. Would anyone like to comment on the interim audit at all? Councillor Hutchison.
Yeah, if you look at number 4 on the interim audit, I presume this is I just wanted to know whether it says should on it in the recommendation. So the council should establish a gifts and hospitality policy that covers officers as well as members, and it also says the council should consider establishing an expenses policy that covers officers, volunteers and members. So I just wondered whether that was going to be actioned.
So I think it's half actioned so far. In fact, because at the last full council we made a slight amendment to add officers into the gifts. So I'm sure the admin and governance manager, we knew we will, as soon as we got this we started adding it in. So as far as I'm concerned, both of those are ticked off and are in the policy now. And then, sorry, my eyesight's really bad. The fixed asset register, Nicola, our admin and governance manager, is going through all our fixed assets. And that will, it's a big long list. We actually have quite a lot of bits and pieces. So that list will come to full council, probably tie it in with the annual meeting. There'll be a big list there that she's working through to find out. There's still some anomalies of what Cheshire East gave us and what is ours. So there's a little bit of work to be done there. That'll then come annually in line with this amendment. And I have been looking at the strategy for investment and treasury management and speaking to other councillors. So you'll see that at some point probably come on full council. And then the first one about the pavilion and continuing to, you know, list and look at and go over the risks, and then when we do the public loan, just to make sure it's in line with our own financial regulations. So I'm confident they will all be done.
Yeah, I was just sort of seeking clarity on, there's a couple of things I saw, which was one of the office staff that had an eye test paid for, and there's also travelling expenses for going around Macclesfield. I wondered what, you know, it just needed to be clear. You know, obviously if somebody's driving a car around using the fuel, they need to be compensated for that. But just the clarity really, because I don't know how far people will be travelling, and whether a certain distance within Macclesfield is considered your normal, if like, routine job. You know, in terms of as well, councillors travelling back and forward within even the ward, because it can start to soak up. You know, I know a lot of councillors don't claim expenses. Don't know of anybody who actually does, but maybe none that I've ever seen anyway. So just tightening up those things so we're absolutely clear on how public money is spent.
Yes, absolutely.
So some of them fall into different parts. So the eye test falls into the contract and the employee's handbook. So everybody who works at a computer predominantly, I think it's every 2 years we can pay for an eye test. I get mine free, so you don't have to pay for mine. Well, not both because I can't see, but and then the expenses is the same. The travel expenses is the same, 45 pence mile. It's agreed with me before anybody, so it couldn't be like, you know, you could go off such and such, and it's extra outside of your work. It doesn't take into account the mileage you would have to come to work. So for instance, if I lived in Congleton and drove in every day, and that was 9 miles there and back, if I then went somewhere else, you would take that 18 miles off, because that's already a given that I would be doing that. So that's how it works. So I totally agree it needed tightening up, and that's why we have now got the expense policy for volunteers, for councillors and for staff, so that I wanted to sort of amalgamate them. So I can't just quite remember in my head, but I'll get Nicola to email you what we did and how they're there. Because
It's not just for me personally, it's for
well, they'll all be on.
I'm reassured by what you told
Yeah.
me. I just need that clarity,
Yeah.
really.
And it's all on our website, the different policies, including I think the staff handbook, you know, that kind of thing, and our contract is in line with NALC, the National Association of Local Councils. We use their template, so.
And I actually feel quite strongly that people should be encouraged to claim, and especially volunteers, because people shouldn't be out of pocket. And also, if there's an assumption that nobody ever claims, then that might mean that some people who are thinking about being a volunteer, I mean, we give our time, for goodness sake, that's one thing, isn't it? But if people need actually the money to be able to volunteer, to be a counsellor or to be something that actually it shouldn't be a given that you don't have it. You should almost be a given that you do have it, and then you give the money back if you don't need it, because otherwise, potentially people won't come forward, will they? So we want people to come forward regardless of their income, because that's where we get the breadth of counsellors, isn't it?
I agree, yeah.
So, any other questions about the audit at all? Do we have to vote on it and sign it off, or
No.
it just goes to us just for noting?
Just noting.
Just for noting.
Very good. Okay. Anything else? So if we move on to number 9, which is the budget for next year. It's April to April, isn't it?
It's April to March, financial year, and it will go to services after this, and then back to full council for the final approval.
And did you want to talk about the precepts then now?
Yeah, it's everything's all in here. It will be an increase of. Sorry, if anybody.
£10.64 for the year.
£10.64 for the year, which actually will be a little bit lower than that, because I've recently just received the amount of houses, Bandy properties, which means that there's more houses in Macclesfield, so it will come back down a little bit.
Okay.
So it's £10.64 increase per year per Band D household, which works out to is it
89 pence.
89 pence extra month per household, not per person, which and also we put a chart in there to compare it to some of our neighbouring
absolutely
councils, and that isn't that's just for information if you know that
It's really
actually
important information, isn't it?
that
there is quite a diverse range of amounts that people pay.
So it's mainly to just show that how much value for money, even with an extra £10 on, it would be.
Does anyone have any questions about the budget? Would you like to bring up, yes, Councillor?
Not a question as Sense Chair, but just a generalisation that obviously, the Town Council year on year, we've managed to put on so many positive things, whether it's town centre events during the summer, whether it's Christmas. It's, in my eyes, it makes sense, because I would still say that we're bringing smiles to people, potentially not just those that live in Macclesfield as well, but if people are visiting and if you see some of our events, to be one of the lowest town councils for cost per household, I think it just proves how outward thinking we are, and we're not kind of scrimping with our money, we're spending wisely to be able to benefit the people of the town in what we do. So I think we should commend this to as part of the Finance Committee to full council for the coming year 24-25.
Lovely. Do we have to propose second and vote on it now?
Questions on it?
Okay.
few questions, just to clarify things again in my mind. The income, 1001, is the Western Community Centre. Notice that it's £5,000
Yes.
per year. Is that contracted for 3 years or something? I just wondered why it wasn't going up in terms of inflation to increase our income.
Agreed. It was a 10-year agreed lease.
10 year.
I believe there is three, maybe 4 years left on it.
It's tied to that amount for 10 years.
Yes.
Can I ask a question, please?
Absolutely.
I thought it was for 15 years, but you say 10, it will be right. Have they indicated yet that they will carry on?
We've got 3 or 4 years to go.
Yeah.
But I would believe, if you ask me today, yes, I think they would want to keep the building and stay there. However, that doesn't necessarily make it so. It doesn't mean that we can't have another lease that puts in more money, or you know, we might put it out in a different way, or we might use it ourselves. Who knows? 3 or 4 years, you know.
Okay, yes, Councillor.
I'll just highlight a few more things. If you got on the expenses, you've got 4,000. It's got staffing costs going up by 30,000, estimated for next.
Yes.
Is that estimated?
The budget for next year was 280,000.
Yeah.
And that is due to expected pay rises and the employment of a financial stroke admin person.
All right.
So there's been recent NALC scales. Well, the unions have agreed that council workers' pay would go up near on roughly £2,000 each. So and for your lower paid staff, that's like 9%. For your higher paid staff, that's maybe 3-4%. But so we put in that for next year, because we're only getting this year's pay rise has only just come out now, even though it should have been April. So we put that in again for next year, just because you know inflation's going so high. And then we've got a potential part-time, full-time role, finance and admin, just due to the growing.
Yeah.
You know, I spend a lot of time doing accountancy things that would be better placed to a finance person who is paid a finance rate rather than paying me to do, when I could be doing something else, you know, that kind of that checking, authorisation, that kind of thing. So that is, yeah, so it's in line with pay rises. We've got people going up a scale every year, and an additional employee.
Yeah, I thought there'd be incremental changes to people's salaries.
We do that subject to a satisfactory appraisal. Everybody goes up 1 increment on the scale till they reach the top of their scale.
Yeah.
And you have to be here over a year before that even takes place.
Yeah.
So this year we'll have our two newer staff haven't had that increment yet. They'll be getting that in April. So that's all kind of tied in and estimated in that cost.
Thank you. Next one is just to highlight again. This is 4,005.
Yes.
The rent
Yes.
going up from 12,000 to 25,000, which is more than doubled.
Yes.
Again, I think last time we talked about this, you said that was an estimated figure.
It's an estimate. Cheshire East still haven't come back to me. I've had them in. We've looked at the rooms. We need some storage. So I have told them I need it at the latest by the end of November to go in full council. You know, an estimated figure. And that also includes some storage for the Rangers, for rotavators, and they've just bought an electric strimmer as well. So they need stuff, places to put things.
There's a question tied in with that, because is that increased space and storage, is that saving us money elsewhere? That we currently have to store these things in another location, or?
Currently, well, you may have seen the office we work in, it is very full of things. The Rangers are, at the moment, have a little bit of storage, and they're relying on the kindness of Anza to store things, but I think it needs to be more clear and separated, and there is a cost to storage, so.
The other things is just things I've highlighted before, which is 4011, which is travel expenses. Actually, it says it's going to go down.
Yes.
And then room hire is 4029, which again is going to go up by 2,000. It said 4010, which I was quite pleased to see, was a reduction of £700 on photocopying costs.
Yes.
The only thing I'd like to see is in the final bullet points, there's one word that I really don't like.
Yes.
I never liked it, even in teaching, and that was try.
Okay.
So when we're talking about the photocopying reduces somewhere, it says trying. I can't recall exactly where it is. Can't see it now.
I've got it here on my papers, Council Watching. I'm trying to do less papers.
Can you tell me which bullet point it is, then?
It's the fourth one down, 2 points.
Oh yes, I spotted it as well. Reduction in stationery.
Ah, right, yeah, it's trying to do, yeah, it's hiding in the middle of the sentence, even though it's in front of me, yeah. I would just say reduction in station work as using less papers, producing less papers.
Should we move on from the papers and the paper laptop debate, which I think will continue for many months, stroke years? Any other questions at all, Councillor Hutchinson?
No, I've covered everything.
Anyone else got any other questions?
I have it's not a question, it's a comment. But I'm all in favour of looking for other places, provided the cost is less.
Yes.
The Masonic is extremely expensive, I know that, but in the other places, provided the cost is less and the security is equal,
Yes.
that we must do. Because those things ought to be balanced. I'm sure you're balancing that. The cost should be less and the security must be equal.
I'm quite happy to ask one of the staff to have a look into potentially A, moving it round, and B, using different venues. I'm quite happy to look at that and bring it and try and bring it to the next finance committee.
Lovely, that would be very good, that would be very useful. Any other questions at all on the budget for next year?
No questions.
No, lovely. So proposing,
I will take this budget to services, so
Right.
unless you have any amendments you want to.
I haven't got any amendments. Anyone got any amendments? No. And so then we take it through
Yeah.
and we agree it.
Yeah, and it's agreed at full council, everyone will have.
Number 10 is the ward budget. So this is myself and Councillor Wilcox. Do we speak to it? Would you like to speak to it at all?
I don't mind speaking on behalf of it. Apologies that it was a supplementary agenda item. I was potentially under the impression that I had more time to fill the form in, so apologies. This is based on the success of the King's Coronation events that we held earlier on this year. It was a fantastic opportunity to see the community getting together, children doing crafts, and basically just coming together as one. Councillor Thompson himself, we had a discussion to see what other events we could do. And again, on the Upton Priory a few years previous, we did a similar event. And again, it's just to bring the community together to let them kind of start the festivities. Obviously, we've got the Step into Christmas on Saturday, and it's just to bring people into Jasmine Park and utilise the facilities at the pavilion, because potentially as well they're used during the day by preschool, but it's kind of a community building, so it's just a nice community get together.
Lovely. I've just realised actually I have another declaration of interest, but
There's no detail. It just says to discuss it. There's no details of what it is.
Did you not get the actual form?
oh, sorry, it, maybe we need to be, it may, is it not on?
We've just got a supplementary.
The agenda. There was Councillor Wilcox did fill a form in to go with it as well.
Yeah.
It's an event, based at Jasmine Park, with the pavilion in Jasmine Park. So, yeah, do you want to have a paper copy? There we go. Excellent. And my non-pecuniary declaration of interest is that my brother,
Okay.
is something to do with Jasmine
Trustee?
Park. Trustee, I'm not quite sure what he is. But it's completely non-pecuniary. I think you are supposed to do all family members, aren't you?
Yeah, I think we need to work with him in there.
I think it'd be quite nice for people to see. A lot of people don't know that it is actually a sort of community building. I think it'd be quite nice for people to see what it is, what it has there, and potentially what will happen to it in the future, because it's not as well used as it could be in terms of all the showers and the rooms in the pavilion at Jasmine Park. So it'll be a good event, hopefully. Always weather dependent. Are we allowed to propose our own secretary?
Yes.
Well, in that case, I will propose our. Would anyone like to second our?
I'd like to second one, just wonder if there's any questions.
Are we talking of the Christmas party that is to happen?
No, it's myself and Councillor Wilcox spending our councillor budget on an event.
Okay.
So just further information, we've got a Christmas tree from Libby's Patch. We've got crafts run by Methodist Church. There's going to be stalls as well, plus just to potentially raise a little bit of money for the pavilion as well.
Jasmine Park.
Jasmine Park
We
pavilion.
need to make
yes.
sure we're clear on which pavilion
Yes.
we're talking about. There's so many pavilions.
How many people do you expect with this?
Difficult to say an exact number. I mean, 100, 150, who knows, 200.
Who knows? It depends on weather a lot.
Obviously, Greenside Estate is, I mean, we're predominantly looking at Greenside Estate because that's, we're spending money out of our local budget. There's a lot of people, residents on the estate, so I'm hoping as many as possible can turn up.
Lovely. Any other questions?
What was the date was it?
26th of November was Sunday.
Not
the day
far
after.
away.
No.
We're going to put leaflets out, are you?
Yes, leaflets have been printed and they are going around. They're going to be going into Worley School as well.
Okay.
Hoping to get Worley Primary School to sing some carols around the tree. Hoping as well for the community to come decorate the Christmas tree. It's literally centred around Greenside community itself.
Lovely. Should we take it to a vote then?
Your
Everyone in
budget, your
support?
budget,
Well, I think we still have to agree them, don't we?
your budget, do what you want to do with it, as long as it's, you think it's
So we are quite keen that people, councillors do spend their budgets, and the last opportunity for bringing councillor budgets to the Finance Committee will be the next Finance Committee. So I'm really making sure people know now in advance that the deadline for them will be, is that the 26th? No, the 19th of February.
To be fair, the Western have spent that.
Have they spent there? So, oh, you're, so who am I looking at? David
Everybody
Edwards.
else. Everybody, I will remind
No,
councillors. They
half
can
an-
carry them over.
Half of ours.
Yeah, we'll have those.
Yeah, you can carry them over. We've allowed them to carry it over, but at last full council, we talked about maybe looking at them again and maybe putting a few
Caveats.
yes of how, because you could potentially carry it over for 5 years.
Yeah.
And, you know,
You have to consider what it's
Yeah.
there for. doesn't
Yeah.
it? But it's, for this time, we would like them spent. It's
Yes.
good to spend them on residents. It's good to have that. So
Exactly,
it needs to be in by the 19th, which is a week before the meeting, which is on the 26th.
yes.
26 till
So the next meeting is the 26th of February at 7 p.m. and it will be held here because we haven't quite decided on new venues, but look forward to seeing people then. Thank you very much.
Before you close it, can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
I was promised an extra chair at the bird sanctuary. Is that out or has that got to be reapplied for?
The extra bench,
Yes, at the bird sanctuary. Because
yes,
it was expensive.
yes, they are. I will get back to you on that. I'll check up where it's all up to, and I'll get back to you.
Thank you, because I thought that was already in. And I'm keeping an eye on the
Yes.
use of that area, and it's a well-used area, and I want to know if I'm still within that conversation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lovely. So 26th of February, 7 p.m. here.
You will have to
We'll see you then. Thank you.